Have you ever had that thought of like, man, the ultimate dream would be to stream full-time? For some people, it's like you put this idea of full-time streaming on such a pedestal that it's almost romanticized. You hate your job, you hate your normal life, and so you spend a lot of your time daydreaming about what it would be like to wake up later and go to work in your office and what it would be like to just stream for a living. That reality exists for a lot of people, and it can be really great, but as you all saw in my last video, it's also very difficult as well. It's not as simple as just waking up late and streaming all day. And I think this is kind of a huge problem in this industry that often goes untalked about. There are so many people who would give up anything in their lives to be able to stream full time. Like, they are so desperate for that reality. And it's toxic because it puts us into situations where if we aren't living that reality, we are failures. This romanticization of full-time streaming leads a lot of people down a path of being really mentally unhealthy. And not only that, full-time streaming isn't just mentally unhealthy, it's strategically not even the best option. So let's get into why all of that is. What's up everyone, it's Ashni. I've been a stream coach for 2.5 years. Today is not a great day, but you know what? We're disciplined in this house. Do the work even though you're crying on the inside, sis. A lot of people today are talking about things like mental health and online bullying and what all of that means and should look like within the streaming industry, which are really important conversations to have. I know I've joked in previous videos that 2020 sucks as a year, and yeah, it is very mentally taxing, but also isn't this kind of the year that we make a lot of like reformed, informed changes? That's pretty cool. That being said, I think it's appropriate to talk about mental health and emotions and how those interact with a goal of being a full-time streamer. As always, you can ask me any questions at discord.gg/ashnichrist, and Stream Coach Academy is opening soon. If you haven't given me your email at streamcoach.tv and you want to be in our 6-week boot camp, make sure that you do that ASAP because it sells out very fast. Okay, so the first reason that I personally think that solely full-time streaming should not exist is because of something that you all have heard a lot from this channel and other streamer education channels, which is diversity. So we've talked a lot about diversifying your content and how important it is to have a presence on Twitch, but also on YouTube and social media, because what happens if Twitch dies one day and these other platforms are the only way that you still can maintain a connection with your audience? It's important to have a presence on those other platforms in case a situation like that does happen. But we haven't talked about diversity in community and in industries. Just like it's dangerous to put all of your eggs in one basket whenever it comes to your content, it's also dangerous to put all of your eggs in one basket whenever it comes to your social circles and the industry that you participate in. So if streaming is your life, if you are full-time and that's all of your friends, all of your job, all of your identity, it means that you are going to struggle if anything comes into friction with that identity. If you only have one place where you exist, you're gonna feel very protective of your existence and your reputation in that space. And so this is gonna lead to you really anguishing over any individual that disagrees with you or dislikes you for whatever reason. It feels really good and a lot more healthy to not be constantly worrying about our position within a specific social hierarchy within one industry. This is why you want to be in different places. This means, yeah, maybe have a full-time job, but also be in the streaming industry and have your friends who aren't involved in it at all, who are there to ground you and remind you that you are a multifaceted person with an identity that expands beyond just Twitch. And that's the problem with a lot of people who are full-time streamers. Their entire identity is hinged on streaming. So how do you protect yourself from this? It's easy to diversify your content. I even talk about it in my ebook. It's not as easy to diversify your social circles and diversify the industries that you participate in. This is why if you are building yourself up to be a full-time streamer, yes, it's great to pursue a career that you're passionate about, but also don't lose sight of all of the other relationships and hobbies that you enjoy outside of streaming. It is so easy whenever you are trying to build up a career in this industry to let all of those other things slide because you want your passion to take priority and you have such a fire for wanting to do this thing full-time. But long term, it does nothing but hurt you, and you don't want to be in that position. Another reason full-time streaming can be problematic is because it is fickle, y'all. It is so fickle. It changes constantly. New things are always coming out. New people are always coming in. Features change. Everything is always changing. Imagine if something changed at your job that would affect your paycheck almost constantly. At first glance, this doesn't seem like a bad thing, right? Like, it's great to have variety in our lives, and it's really interesting to have a career that keeps throwing different things at you. But whenever you're romanticizing full-time streaming, you often don't think about it from the perspective of having to constantly keep up with these changes. You feel like once you become full-time, it's always going to be as easy as it was for you whenever you were put into a position where you could be full-time. And so someday, after 2 months or 6 months or 2 years of being a full-time streamer, circumstances get difficult and you can't pay the bills anymore for whatever reason. A feature on the platform changed, or maybe your content isn't as relevant anymore, or maybe something happened to someone in your community that caused a lot of negativity for everyone else. Whatever it is, you might be in a situation where you can't be a full-time streamer anymore because of how fickle the industry is. And you can offset a lot of this by learning about things like branding and marketing and all those other sexy buzzwords that I talk about in every single freaking video. But it also doesn't necessarily guarantee that you are going to be able to find the solutions to all of the problems that come up throughout your career as a full-time streamer. I have a workbook that is completely free if you want to look a little bit more into the different routes that your brand could possibly take if that's something that you're struggling with. So we've talked about mental health already during this video, but can we talk about what it's like to have a full-time job where the effort that you put in does not equate to results? Imagine if you go to your 9-to-5 job and you start putting in so much more effort, right? You start cleaning up every single day and you do your job and you do half of somebody else's job, and you're always in contact and communication with your managers, and you never get any acknowledgement for it. That's what a lot of small streamers are going through. And that doesn't change just because you go full-time. Full-time is not this thing that is automatically going to make you a worthier streamer or make other people take you more seriously. I used to think that it would. I thought if I went full-time, that would mean that more people would be interested in watching me because all of a sudden I was more important than everybody else who wasn't full-time. And that's just not how it works. Your full-time or part-time status alone doesn't change the actual quality of your stream. Now, because the amount of effort that you put into your stream does not necessarily equate to growth and results, this leads to a high burnout potential, high frustration potential, high potential of being jaded, which can happen in any industry. Every single job has its problems, but definitely in streaming, this is the case. I hit my camera, I'm sorry. So there are so many small streamers who start with the idea of going full-time someday, and what ends up happening is they're consistent for a very, very long time, but their effort doesn't equate to results, and so they end up getting frustrated, which I kind of have a YouTube video over that as well. And then they get into a really negative mental health space, and then they end up stopping streaming altogether, or at least taking a major step back to try and just readjust their vision of the entire industry. And that sucks. We don't want awesome people leaving the industry because they feel like they don't matter. So we've talked a lot about emotions, but I also promised you strategy. Like, why is being a full-time streamer not strategically smart. Being a full-time streamer usually comes with accepting a full-time streamer schedule, which for a lot of people is streaming 6 to 8 hours a day, 5 to 6 hours a week. The reason it isn't smart is because it doesn't give you enough time to focus on other projects and other content for yourself. This means YouTube channels, social media, and also those bigger projects that you release a couple of times every year that keep the buzz ignited and help you grow your brand to the next level. For streamers who are already massive and successful, they can stream a ton because they have a team of people helping them create tons of other things and up-level themselves and work with companies because those companies are reaching out to them. But for people who are aspiring to be full-time, who are smaller, you're not in the position where streaming constantly is going to benefit you. That's period. put a done skis with that sentence. Done skis? What? Those really successful streamers that you think are amazing full-time streamers, they're not really just full-time streamers. They're not only streaming. They're on tons of other platforms and they have other projects that they're working on. Ninja has a freaking underwear line. Like, I will say though, if your goal is to be a full-time streamer only, you don't believe in the power of YouTube or social media, you don't want to do all of these outside projects, you just want to play freaking video games and get paid for it as your job, that goal is still perfectly valid. Maybe it isn't the most emotionally healthy goal, according to me, and maybe it isn't the most strategic way for you to grow yourself in the streaming industry, but not everything has to be about strategy, right? Sometimes we just want to do things because they're best for our personal joy and fulfillment. Just because full-time streaming might not be the most mentally healthy according to some stream coach on YouTube doesn't mean that it's not the right choice for you. But allowing small streamers to romanticize Twitch to the point where they don't consider all of the negatives and realities that come along with being a full-time streamer, I mean, that would be irresponsible of me. I'm not gonna put that responsibility on any of y'all, but I can't go around letting y'all think that it is just rainbows all the time, because it isn't. In fact, it might be the right choice for you to stay a small streamer forever. That might actually be what is more fulfilling for you and feels better for you. And according to a lot of the comments in this video, a lot of people agree with that. So you might check out that one if you're feeling like you are in that position. I'll see you over there. Bye. I love you. Or do I?